Nicole Huntsman here from moderncosmic.com. We have got our sun sign compatibility here on this video. If you know what sun sign means, fast forward to the timestamp you see or the description of the video. So in Western astrology, we take the year, the 12 calendar months, okay, and we divide them up according to the Earth's relationship to the sun. And this makes sense if you think back in the day when we were farmers. The movement of the sun, it's actually our movement, the tilt of our Earth relative to the sun and how it affects the seasons was very important. Springtime, time to plant, summertime to take care of and tend the fields, and of course fall time to harvest, and then winter was time to preserve the things that you had stored and make them last till spring again. Now, in astrology, we look at these 4 important dates that are repeatable, they happen every year, and they are the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the fall equinox, and the winter solstice, okay? We have our zodiac signs all set up according to these solar events. In the springtime, when we have our spring equinox, March 21st, this is that time of year when the equator of the Earth is facing the sun, directly, and the Earth is level, so to speak. So, we are on an axis and the Earth tilts. At this point in the year, we're level. That's why you can spin an egg and it will spin. Now, that's the beginning of the zodiac year, and really should be the beginning of our year. It would make sense to have the time when we go from winter, where we have more darkness than light, to the time when it's equal. We have an equal amount of daylight and equal amount of darkness, and then we move into the time of the year, the spring, when we have more light and less darkness each day, okay, until we hit the summer solstice, where we have the most light, more light, and less of the darkness. So with the zodiac, your sun sign falls during a month between those 4 events. So your sun sign is going to fall into one of these segments, okay? We've got the 12 months divided up into 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, according to those solar events. And then in each of those sections, we have 3 zodiac signs, okay? Your sun sign is important in that it shows your general life force. If you think of the sun is the star in our solar system. It is the mass, the giant mass, relative to us anyway, that is holding our solar system together. Without the sun, without our star, we wouldn't be here, and if something happened to our sun, we would all die, we would perish. We eat food that's made from the energy of the sun. We are literally made of sun, which is pretty cool. Someone's sun sign shows you the basic premise upon which their personality is built. It's like a canvas that we're going to paint upon. It doesn't have any paint on it yet, it's just the canvas. Is it wood? Is it metal? Is it canvas? Is it a panel? Is it round? Is it square? How big is it? How little is it? The zodiac sign will sort of illuminate, and it will explain and make granular sort of this very basic part of what we have to work with, okay, with the personality. So it's the first step in building, when you're looking at an astrology birth chart, it's the first thing you look at because you're going to build upon it, all right? And then all the brushstrokes come with the moon and all the angular houses and the planets and the aspects between the planets. That's when it becomes a beautiful picture. But until then, it's just you're one of the 12 zodiac signs. This is very general. Sun signs are general. It's a general vibe. You've got someone who's kind of more of a feeler, someone who's more of a thinker. But there are all different types of feelers and there are all different types of thinkers, okay? We get that granularity by looking at the entire birth chart and by putting the 2 people together, okay? You can have a feeler and a thinker get together and be really happy if they've got other things in their birth chart that make nice compatibility interaspects. If for some reason your sun signs don't get along well, let's say we've got someone who is, let's say we've got a Capricorn and an Aquarius, very different energies. Capricorn's conservative, Aquarius is an iconoclast and does their own thing. On the surface, sun sign wise, these 2 aren't going to jive perfectly. But if you look underneath, maybe they have moons that are both in water, and it gives them an emotional warmth, or it gives them an emotional depth to the cooler Capricorn Aquarius facade. There's another thing you want to look at between your compatibility charts. There are several, but another important primary planetary aspect that you want to look at, or planetary placement, I should say, that you want to look at. And I'm going to talk about this at the end of the video, so stay tuned, watch the compatibility, and at the very end I'll explain to you how to find If your sun compatibility isn't great, there's another thing you can look at that will indicate whether or not the two of you are going to have long-lasting happiness together, or if it's going to be sort of a no-win battle, okay? All right, let's get on to our sun signs, and please leave me comments if you have questions, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Taurus are the individuals born April 20th through May 20th. Now, this is the time of year, if you were to imagine we're back 2,000 years and we're farming, this is the time of year we would be planting. We'd be planting our seeds, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, which is where this type of astrology comes from, Western astrology. Taurus is all about the possession. It's all about the five senses of our physical bodies and operating through this physical these three dimensions that we are here in. So Taurus, ruled by Venus, has to do with the sensual pleasures of the body, but also this idea that we can, as individual protagonists in our own story, possess things. So this is our money, this is our physical possessions, and this is also things more abstract, I suppose. Our self-esteem and our talents, the things that we possess inside of ourselves. Taurus sun signs are slower moving, predictable. They like things to unfold in a way where they know what to expect. And if you think about a farm and you think about planting seeds, you do them if you want to be productive with your farm. You plant them in rows and you do them a certain amount of space between each other, and you water them regularly, and there's a consistency there, okay? There's a routine and an earthy sort of habit that is followed in order to be productive. Have a concrete, practical way of thinking, or way of being rather, because this is a sun sign. With a Taurus, you do have someone who's somewhat stubborn. They have in their mind a plan for how they'd like things to unfold, and they'll get there when they're going to get there, and you can't push them and prod them, okay? Now also, Taurus being ruled by Venus, these individuals appreciate nice things. A lot of times someone who has strong Taurus in their chart, they either like luxury items, they're highly motivated by working hard and making money, or they enjoy the arts, music, whether it's creating it or just listening to it and enjoying it and being a patron of the arts and music. These are very Taurus, and Taurus loves food. Again, and sex. This is the body, being in a body, having a spirit in this human form where we get to experience the pleasures of what comes with this body. On the high side with Taurus, we have steadfast, loyal, determined, artistic, usually. Sometimes they're not artistic. Sometimes it comes out in other ways, like it comes out in the enjoyment of the arts or the enjoyment of food and these things I've talked about before, the five senses. They are understanding and affectionate. They're calm. They like peace and harmony in their relationships. Okay, this is Venusian. They're practical, sensual, passionate people. Their passion is different than the Aries passion. The passion of a Taurus is more slower moving and sensual, and it's more consistent. You know, Aries, the sign we did earlier, would just kind of flare up, whereas Taurus is going to come out slowly and sensually. Now, on the shadow side, or if you've got a low-functioning Taurus, you can have someone who's stubborn, who's materialistic, who's hedonistic. They are focused way too much on the outside and not on the inside. There's an unmovable nature to a shadow, low-functioning Taurus. They can be possessive, afraid of change. They have a really strong need for security, and so they're afraid to sort of break out from situations they know aren't best for them. So they can overstay bad relationships or bad situations at work, or just life situations, just be in the same career for years that they don't like, but it's the devil you know is safer than the devil you don't know. And they can be a little lazy and a little vain. That's our Venus. Now this is low functioning. Taurus in love. Taurus appreciates beauty, all right? Taurus sun signs, whether it's male or female, whatever their personal idea of beauty is, they will have, it's going to be high on their list of things that will matter to them. They need to be physically attracted to their partner. They are quite lusty and sensual, the sun sign. Once they have gotten to know someone, once they've decided that this is the one for them, they're affectionate, and the way they show their love is through they do enjoy giving their partner gifts, sharing things with them, but also really affection and sex. There's a possessiveness to a Taurus. They're on the axis of possession with a Scorpio as well. So they can at times be a little bit possessive, and they need to know that their partner is theirs. So they can have some issues with security and needing to feel safe and secure. Taurus expectations in love. Taurus types, Taurus sun signs, they're looking for security, and they're looking for a relationship that is grounded in reality. They wouldn't really be stoked about a relationship that was like based on the internet, you know, like a long distance relationship, unless you had a Taurus with a ton of Aquarius in their chart, and that's a whole other story. But for the most part, Taurus, pure Taurus sun sign, they like to have you there in their presence. They want someone to build a life with. They want harmony. They want to enjoy the daily pleasures with their partner. They like good food. They like a nice regular sex life. They like to dance in the kitchen while they're cooking dinner together. They just want simple, authentic, real love. Okay, that's their expectations, and they expect loyalty. So you give that to them, and you have got a happy bull. Now, Taurus's biggest fear, they worry about security. This is why you've got a sun sign that's so focused on making money or proving themselves through their ability to be successful or have control over their ability to create income. That's why it's underneath it is an insecurity, a worry that they will be without. So this includes the partner. They do have a fear of their partner leaving them. And so they need a partner that is consistent, steady, does what they say they're going to do, shows up when they're supposed to, and is reliable. Ultimately, that will put their heart at ease and keep them happy and harmonious. So Aquarius sun signs are born between January 20th and February 18th. With our Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is the zodiac sign that we associate with, in my mind, revolutionary sort of fringe behavior, thinking, topics, themes, etc. Aquarius is eccentric. It's a little different. This is our water bearer. And the water bearer, to me, I never really think of the symbolism of the water bearer other than the fact that it's like the star card in the tarot, which happens to do with sort of hope and for the future. Now, Aquarius is a sign that rules friendship and brotherly love and our associations that we have with our broader community. It's humanitarian efforts. It's these efforts to move us from a place as a species, as a race, that's more selfish into this place that's about offering everyone the freedoms to express as they would like to express, okay? Unity, equality, these sorts of things. So Aquarius also rules science. It rules the new age, including astrology, anything cosmic, anything that has to do with sort of these mysteries of the universe. I think of these mysteries as quite different from maybe Scorpio or 8th house or watery mysteries that have to do with the inner psyche, but this is more sort of the cosmic mysteries and what our place is and what our role is. So with an Aquarius, you have an individual who, as a personality type, you tend to see as someone sort of eccentric. They have a freak flag. They usually are a little bit different or odd, and they won't mind being called weird or eccentric. Like, they'll appreciate that you see that they're unique. They really strive to live their life in a way that they feel is their own authentic version of what they think life is. Aquarius also is a fixed sign, so there is a stubbornness. Even though this is an air sign, and it has to do with freedom, and it has to do with, it's ruled by Uranus, which gives it this sort of on-again, off-again quality. It's also traditionally was ruled by Saturn as well. So these two rulers, it's interesting, neither are emotional sort of rulers. Both of them I think of as detached and a little bit colder in the sense that they're impartial. So a lot of times people who have strong Aquarius, Uranian, or Capricorn, or Saturn, those four energies strongly noted in their chart, they'll have a sarcasm to them. They'll have a cynicism to them. It's this interesting place where their understanding of the realities of life, which would be sort of that Saturnian energy, mixed with an Aquarius at least, their ability to see the possibilities, the contradiction there, makes them a little sarcastic, and also there's a strong element of genius that we've applied to Aquarius Mercuries, or someone who's got a lot of Uranian energy in their 3rd house, or 11th house, 3rd house connections, Mercury. Anyway, they'll have a genius to them. Their mind will be quick. They will seem as though they received cosmic downloads, and perhaps they do. Who says they don't? I don't know. And there's just this, the way that they think that was a little different, it's a little fringe, a little weird relative to the norm. They're not normals, okay? I love Aquarius. They're one of my favorite signs. High functioning Aquarius, you've got someone who is unique, unorthodox. They do things in a way that other people maybe haven't thought of doing them yet. They have this thing where they really care about people. They're great friends. Many Aquariuses have a lot of friendly associations with a lot of different people. They're very social, and they need to have those connections with many different people, all right, and many times of the opposite gender or of the gender that they're attracted to sexually. But they need to know that their partner knows that they're loyal, that they're not. They need to be free to have these associations, and it's an important part of who they are. With an Aquarius, you've got also, it's an air sign, so they're logical and they're thinkers, and they also have an energy about them because it's Uranian. Uranus's energy is a little nervous, and they can worry about things, and their heads can even be a little ADD, a little spastic in their thinking process. I say that with love. I have Uranus in my third house, but it's on again, off again quality, because that's Aquarius energy. It's very like here and then there and then everywhere. So onto our shadow side, our low functioning, Aquarius traits. You do have a flakiness that can happen with Aquarius. You can have, they're just not earthy grounded the way that a Capricorn or a Virgo might be, or a Taurus. It's just, they're just different. They, doesn't mean they won't show up for people that they care about, because these are our most sort of humanitarian types. They'd be really good at sort of spreading the message and getting a bunch of people there. And they're going to be good at the part that they're good at, which has to do with the communication and the actual, maybe perhaps creation of the entity, and then letting other people actually do the in-person work. They're the idea person. Also, you've got a fixed sign. So you've got someone who's determined. They can be stubborn. They can be so determined to a fault. They can leave situations and be non-committal with their relationships in the same way Gemini can, because they're not naturally, again, a super emotionally connected on their own insides type of a person, because they spend so much of their energy up in this part of themselves, up in their head and in their throat chakra and whatnot, third eye and all that good stuff. This part of them is less connected, unless they have, again, moon, perhaps a moon that's in a watery placement, or some other things that would indicate that they're connected down here emotionally. But the way they operate on the outside is going to be pretty detached and a little sarcastic and a little funny and a little, like, they'll say things that are inappropriate, but they just have a Aquarius vibe about them that's pretty great, or groovy. What else? They're freedom loving, and so on the high side they give that freedom, but on the shadow side sometimes if they feel like they're not being given freedom, they can rebel, and they can be the type that wander. They have to prove to themselves and sort of the universe that they still are free, that they still have that universal right that's been granted to them, that they can spread themselves around a little, so that's the shadow side. Also, they can be a little critical. They can be a little, that sarcasm can move into the realm of being kind of mean, critical language. Okay, Aquarius in love, they're naturally friendly, sociable types. That's what they're here for. They're here to socialize. So typically they have a lot of friends of both genders. And again, they're going to have friends that might be the same gender that they're attracted to. So as a partner of an Aquarius, you have to understand that there's a big difference between platonic and romantic. Aquariuses love platonic relationships, and they have a lot of them, and they need them. And if you try to take that from them, you are stripping away one of the most basic parts of who they are, and good luck with getting them to stay, because they're not going to. They're going to be gone. Aquarius do not like, they have a fear of commitment. So if you're in any way, shape, or form emotionally overwhelming them or trapping them or holding them down, preventing them from doing the thing they're here to do, then they will leave, right? Okay. Oh, also Aquarius, they have a flirtatious, cerebral quality to them, and they like a relationship that has a lot of communication. They like little sexy flirting text messages and letters and wittiness and banter, and someone who can teach them things. That's really attractive to an Aquarius. Someone who can debate with them about a topic that's close to their heart, or their pet topic. And a lot of times Aquarius, we see people with strong Aquarius, they're kind of nerdy. They have like a geekiness to them that's really appealing. So if you have that as well, that's probably going to be quite attractive to an Aquarius. These would be our sapiosexuals, that are attracted to the mind. Someone who has a powerful intellect, that will be very sexy to an Aquarius. Okay. Okay, so Aquarius expectations in love, I'm kind of mentioned this already, but it is loyalty from the partner from an intellectual place. So they would expect your understanding of who they are and what they're here to do, which is to make many social contacts, to test the edges and the limits of social norm. That's why we consider them our iconoclasts, and there are rebels, and there are eccentrics and the freak flag flyers. Okay, they need to be able to do all these things because that's who they are. So they will be loyal to a partner who understands that about them. They would expect in return, they will give you complete freedom, and they expect that in return. It's just not a non-negotiable issue for a true Aquarius. If they can't do a partner that's clingy, that emotionally needs to be validated by them, that partner will be sorely disappointed. The Aquarius just kind of, even if they know how to emotionally validate you or to be really sensitive to your emotional needs, the logical part of them will kind of step in and just be like, yeah, but you shouldn't really be so emotional about that, or that doesn't make sense to me, why you're making such a big deal out of this, or they'll even just have this attitude too, like, why do you care what someone thinks about you? You shouldn't be upset about that, just who cares? They just don't, they themselves don't go to these really deep dark places typically, so they don't really understand why you need to and why you need to pull them in there. It just doesn't make sense to them. Again, unless you've got someone who's got a watery moon, or a moon that's in a water house, then that's going to make this person more sensitive. But Aquarius can be a little insensitive. They do well with other thinkers and other air signs and fire signs. Aquarius's biggest fear would be if they're here to express their freedom of expression. The fear would be having that taken from them, feeling like they had to play a role, pretend to be somebody that they're not, keep it in the closet, etc. That would be very uncomfortable for an Aquarius, and any partnership that required that would not last long with an Aquarius. They have an on-again, off-again quality to them where they are flaky too. They can be. And it depends on where it falls. It can affect their flakiness towards deciding on a career, or it can affect the way in partnership that if it's in their fifth house, maybe they have like multiple partners, and it just depends on how. But there is an on again, off again quality. There's a lack of commitment in some part of their life. Where that sun falls, there can be a lack of commitment in that area. So it's something that they know this about themselves, and they don't appreciate it about themselves always either. And they really will not appreciate being told that they're behaving in this way, because they already know. You better believe they already know. So their fear is, accept them for who they are. Their fear is when they're not being accepted for who they are. Okay, Taurus and Aquarius. Now, wow, we have some really different people here. Again, though, doesn't mean you can't fall in love just because you're different. Especially if you've got, like I always say, if your moons are happy with each other, then the sun sign's kind of not as important. But it does show your general life force. So you've got Taurus, this general life force that's a little bit more sitting in one place and solid, and like seems to be, where Taurus knows what to expect and likes to have some consistency. Aquarius is very much the opposite, even though they're not opposite signs. Aquarius is about expansion and freedom and the edge of things and pushing the boundaries and trying these new bizarre things that no one else is willing to try. Okay, so very different, but that's also probably what will attract these two initially. The long-term interaction between these two, I don't really believe in being black and white, because there's so much complexity when you're doing relationship astrology. But these two archetypes, Aquarius and Taurus, will probably drive each other a little bit crazy, okay? Aquarius needs to be able to be changing all the time. And Aquarius needs to be experiencing the fringe and the unexpected, the unorthodox, and not the opposite of non-status quo. Taurus is all about keeping things consistent and keeping things regular. So they might drive each other nuts. So that's a fundamental difference in their personality. Long term, I don't really like this combination unless they have, if everything else is happy in their charts, then it could work. But this will definitely be an issue that comes up time and again, that the Taurus is boring or won't change or wants commitment, and the Aquarius, why don't you understand my need for freedom and this, you're being so, I need expansion, and I need, these new experiences, and what is a relationship anyway? And, this kind of thing. And Taurus will be like, what are you talking about? So they're different. That's a fundamental difference between these two. The specific areas of conflict for these two would be that their individual purposes are sort of thwarted. If you've got an Aquarius who needs all this movement and these social connections and this new electrical, exciting experiences, and you've got a Taurus who prefers things to be calm and harmonious, and like, okay, we're gonna have meat and potatoes and steak and potatoes on Thursday night, and on Friday night we're gonna have fish, and on Saturday, you know, this kind of thing. Like Taurus wants things to be kind of scheduled and the same and reliable, and that's not what Aquarius wants. Okay, and Aquarius types even get a little bothered with themselves at times, feeling like they're a little bit all over the place. They would prefer to be more like the Taurus in a lot of ways, and the Taurus would prefer to be like the Aquarius in many ways, and that's their area of harmony. So they will learn from each other. It's like they sort of hold shadow material for each other, where Aquarius can't commit and stick to something, Taurus has no problems, and where Taurus can't move out of his or her comfort zone, Aquarius is all about that. So they could really teach each other a lot of things, but need-moon contact is supposed to be a long-term interaction. Other people will see this relationship most likely as sort of problematic, volatile. It will be confusing to people from the outside. Again, unless they have, if the moons are happy, then you've got, if you've got people whose moons either get along with one another or they carry a moon that reflects the partner's sun sign. So if you had the Taurus with an Aquarius moon or the Aquarius with a Taurus moon, then they're going to understand each other. But if you've got an Aquarius with an Aquarius moon, let's just be extreme, and a Taurus with a Taurus moon, these guys are like, two ships in the night going in totally weird different directions, and maybe they're going to come around and hit each other. So it's not a good match, just the two without any other influence.